We are finally here, and yes, the committee got it right. Thank you. But also, we lost out on an intern. We'll get into all of it right here. Let's go. All right, James, Season 5, Episode 15.
Yeah.
Big turnover, right?
Yep.
24 hours.
Yeah, we're back. We are back. A lot of stuff happening in the college football world, kind of over the past week, but especially this morning. A lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll talk about the committee a little bit. We'll talk about kind of everything in college sports. It'll be interesting to see. We'll take a look at some games.
So today we're going to start off with the recent rundown. And this whole episode is just going to be a discussion about the last week or two of college football, conference championships, the playoff reveal, and the coaching carousel. We also got a futures draft update for you.
Let's
do it.
Yeah. All right. Let's cue our new music.
Man, I like this new music, man. I don't know. Conference championships for this weekend, and the American Tulane beat North Texas 34-21. In the SEC, Georgia stomps on Alabama 28-7. In the Sun Belt, James Madison handles Troy 31-14. In the Big 12, Texas Tech dominates BYU 34-7. In the ACC, Duke in overtime takes down Virginia with the upset 27-20 in a thriller. And in the Big 10, Indiana upsets Ohio State, claiming the number one spot 13-10. Speaking of the number one spot in the college football playoff, Indiana does claim the number one spot, with Ohio State sticking at 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech number 4. Our first round matchups, number 5, Oregon versus number 12, James Madison. Number 8, Oklahoma hosting number 9, Alabama. Number 6, Ole Miss hosting number 11, Tulane. And number 7, A&M hosting number 10, Miami. Now there's a coaching carousel, so I'm taking a deep breath and read these all to you. LSU steals Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. Ole Miss then promotes defensive coordinator Pete Golding. Oklahoma State hires North Texas's head coach Eric Morris. Arkansas hires Memphis's Ryan Silverfield, their head coach. Penn State hires Iowa State's head coach Matt Campbell. Florida hires Tulane's head coach John Sumrall. Auburn hires South Florida's head coach Alex Golish. North Texas then hires Texas assistant Neil Brown. Michigan State hires Pat Fitzgerald. Kentucky fires Mark Stoops and gets Oregon offensive coordinator Will Stein. South Florida hires Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. UCLA hires James Madison's coach Bob Chesney. Colorado State hires UConn's head coach Jim Mora. Oregon State hires Alabama co-offensive coordinator Jamarcus Shepard. Kansas State hires Colin Klein. Cal hires Oregon defensive coordinator Tosh Lapoy. Memphis hires Southern Miss's head coach Charles Huff. Sunbelt Belly is back. You can take the man out the conference, but you can't take the conference out the man. James Madison hires Billy Napier. Stanford hires the commander's assistant Tavita Pritchard. And Iowa State hires Washington State's head coach Jimmy Rogers. So James, get this started. Which conference championship was the most fun to watch?
Oh, okay. Good question. Probably the two last night. Indiana and Ohio State, and then Duke and Virginia. I'll say Indiana, Ohio State, just because of the two powerhouses we got to watch and how good those defenses were. It was kind of a refreshing game. Not a crazy offensive performance. It was kind of like down in the trench game. I thought it was fun to watch, but I do think the ACC was awesome too. Obviously going into overtime, Duke stealing that one from Virginia in a stadium that was probably a quarter of the way filled. So, but I would probably say Big Ten title game, but ACC's close.
Yeah, these were pretty much all certified bangers. I think, other than the Sun Belt and the SEC, I had a lot of fun watching all these games, including the Big 12 championship, which was a blowout. But I'm gonna go with the ACC one here. Overtime game, thriller, big comeback late, and then all of the semantics that went along with it. And man, I want to say something about these conference championship games. They still mean something. You saw that yesterday. All these teams went out there and they played with their hearts out. And they take pride in winning their league, and as they should. That's a big pride factor for these guys. And as long as you can keep it to where you can't get hurt by it, can only help you. It can be seen as a good opportunity to show something to the committee without being hurt, while also playing for pride and winning your league. So I think conference championships still hold a lot of weight, and that was shown yesterday in those games. So we'll get into them. Let's start in the Sun Belt.
Okay.
JMU, defeats Troy 31-14. We don't need to spend much time on this, but it was looking a little rocky early for James Madison. Troy hung in there early. I think it was like 17-14 at some point. But then James Madison able to just kind of slug it out and finish that one strong.
Yeah, it was a James Madison game where it was kind of they showed off their big plays, and that's kind of what James Madison does, right? They thrive off some big plays. Their defense is really good, but they just have a really good system offensively. Like, they can run the ball incredibly well. Their quarterback is really good. Alonzo Burnett is awesome. Like, they have a really dynamic offense that was just shown in this game pretty easily. And in that second half, they dominated Troy, and especially on the defensive side, their defense looked so good in that second half. So JMU, shout out to them. They got themselves in the college football playoff and played a really good game in the Sun Belt Championship.
Yeah, going into the fourth quarter, 17-14, and they were able to score 14 unanswered in the fourth. By the
I don't
way,
think Troy scored in the second half.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
And so I forgot to put dog of the week in here. That's probably something we could have done. But anyway, if we were doing it, Wayne Knight,
yes.
212 rushing yards.
Yep.
We might put it in next week. I don't know.
And that's the thing. That's going to be one thing that's interesting when we will a little bit look into the actual games. The college football playoff is, can James Madison thrive off these big plays? Knight is a guy who literally thrives off of 30-yard rushes randomly, or James Madison. That's kind of what they do. So it'll be interesting to see, and they did that in this game really well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, staying in the group of 5 with the American Conference Championship. If I had to pick a second game that I think was the most fun, this is it.
Okay.
It's close because this. I know you didn't really watch this game, but
no, I watched a little bit of it.
I watched this whole game and it was a blast to watch. I don't know, it was just a really fun game. Really weird at times with the calls that the refs were forced to make. There was the QB sneak in the end zone that was really unclear, and then the fumble on the pick six also unclear. But they had to stick with the call on the field, which I think both of them were the wrong call, but you had to stick with it because there was no evidence. So, really interesting game. I thought the refs played a part. Both these coaches, man,
incredible.
I can't say enough about these guys, how they're already one foot out the door, but they were both losing their minds the whole game at these referees, at their players, at the game in general. These guys both care so much. They're playing for a college football playoff spot. Probably had the biggest implications of any of these games, and it showed out big time. And North Texas almost making it close at the end.
Yeah. So I'm basing the first 3 quarters of the highlights, but I did get to watch the fourth quarter, and I saw a lot of what North Texas was doing, a little bit more than Tulane. Tulane was kind of hanging on at that point, but yeah, it was just I did see some of the fires from Summerall and Eric Morris, and it was just cool to see.
It was really the start mostly. In the first 5 minutes, they were both going insane.
In the fourth quarter, Summerall was yelling at everyone, which kind of what Summerall does, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, but. I think this is a great game for Tulane, right? They dominated the first half. And I expect Tulane to show a little something in the playoffs, a little spark, but we'll see.
Yeah, North Texas came out in this game actually in their first drive and kind of carved up Tulane. I thought at that point North Texas might run away with this one and not get stopped at all. But then the rain started, and that really hurts North Texas because they
can't run the ball.
They couldn't run the ball, and their passing game was playing really well, but you can't really throw the ball that much in the rain. Their run game was really struggling. This game, especially with their running back going out with an injury really early on. And so, at that point, Tulane was kind of able to feast, and they were able to get a lot of turnovers, and they were able to control the game. And that's where it flipped 17-0 second quarter for Tulane.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, shout out Green Wave.
Yeah. Okay, let's go SEC next. Georgia 28, Alabama 7. And I didn't really watch much of this game, but, Georgia is such a different team than they were the first time they played Alabama, and this is, I think, the best team in the country, and you saw that yesterday. Bama rushed for -3 yards in this game, and Georgia was able to dominate every single facet.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the entirety of this year. We've talked about how Alabama has to get their running game going. Their passing offense is really good, but if there is legit no running game, it's going to be really hard for Alabama to win big games against really good defensive lines. That's going to be really tough, and they showed their true colors in this game. Alabama is struggling right now. They're kind of fading. They don't really have this spark anymore, and they're going to have to figure out how to run the ball in the playoffs if they want a shot, because Alabama will get smoked if they can't run the ball. And we saw it against a really good Georgia team, by the way. If there's a team I trust probably more than Indiana right now, maybe it's very close, it's Georgia. You trust them to go win a national title. They are by far and away the best SEC team in the playoffs. So it's Georgia once again in Kirby.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
Yeah, for sure.
It's inevitable.
Kirby gets his second win against Alabama. He's now 2-7, which is insane
wild.
to think about. But you saw like Bama's running backs, like maybe their top 2 or 3 running backs were injured in this game, so that kind of played into it. And then Ty Simpson was forced to throw it a lot, only 19 for 39, and that kind of sums up this game for Alabama. Couldn't get anything going. He took care of the ball pretty well, but I don't see any interceptions on here unless it's hiding from me. But
I think he threw one.
He threw one, yeah. 19.9 QBR.
Oh,
shit.
Wow.
And Gunnar Stockton, on the other hand, 20 for 20.
Gunnar Stockton was incredible in this game. Like, going back and watching his highlights, like, he looked good, dude.
Like, completion percentage is going to tell you a lot about this game. Like, 20 to 26 based on 19 for 39.
And their offense is run in such a cool way. Like, they get Gunnar Stockton outside the pocket. They create plays outside the pocket. Like, there's broken plays for Georgia, obviously, but, like, they turn them into really big plays, and they're very good at it, and they're disciplined on defense. Like, their team is good, and they are poised to make a national title run. They have the team to do it. Gunnar Stockton is finally becoming, like, the guy we saw at the end of last year. Like, Gunnar Stockton is that guy, and Georgia's got their quarterback, and with a quarterback, they can go wherever they want. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk more about those teams a little later.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. Let's go Big 12 next.
Yeah.
Texas Tech 34, BYU 7. I've got some stuff to say about this game because, like, look, Texas Tech is on a different level in this conference. I'm still not really sure how good they are. I'm still not really sure how good BYU is. Like, I'm not really sure how good the Big 12 was this year in general. I think the Big 12 had the chance to be almost to the level of the Big 10 or the SEC. Like, I don't really know where they stand, and Texas Tech's going to show us where they stand here in a few weeks. Texas Tech just dominated this game. They went down 7-0 early. Looked like there might be some trouble brewing. Get the computer. And Texas Tech showed like, we are the team, and they scored 34 straight after that opening drive from BYU. And it was just, like, in the second half, it was like Bachmeier was seeing ghosts. Like, he was throwing it to the wrong team every play. Like, he might have had more completions to Texas Tech than he did to BYU in the second half. Like, it was insane to watch the turnovers that Texas Tech was able to force. They were just all up in Bear Bachmeier's head, like, making big plays. And that's what this team can do to you, and I'm excited to see that going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think after this game, the biggest thing to look at is, like, Kalani Sitake said after this game, hey, we played the best team in the country twice. Those are only 2 losses, right? This has nothing to do with BYU getting the playoff. I'm just saying that he, like, is giving a lot of credit to Texas Tech. Like, and I totally agree with him. I think that Texas Tech is by far and away a top 4 team in the country. They looked incredible in this game. Their defense might be the best in the country. Like, it's up there. It's close. It's close to an Indiana or an Ohio State. Oklahoma, too. That's a great example. But I would say that those 3, like, especially Texas Tech, showed how good that defensive line is, and their linebackers, and, like, even their DBs played well in this game, which has kind of been a struggle for them at some points in the year. And BYU was just not on the same level as this team. And they really were. They were great this year. They're a really good team. But, like, Texas Tech can compete with anyone right now. They showed that this weekend. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas Tech is going to be a force to reckon with in these playoffs. I'm going to need to see a little more offensive efficiency, though, when they get against these big-time teams. Really didn't take advantage of all the opportunities they were given in this game. So, if we're going to nitpick about about Texas Tech, I mean,
it's the one thing.
That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Like, off a couple turnovers, had a couple field goals. Weren't very opportunistic in the first half. Didn't have very many good drives. But they were helped out a lot by the turnovers, obviously, to pad their lead. ACC, Duke 27, Virginia 20. What a game. I was flipping between this one and the Big Ten, and I was able to catch into this one. Virginia being down by 10, 20-10 with less than 5 minutes left. Able to come back off a bunch of Duke unforced errors, making like the 96-yard drive, I think it was, to tie the game. And then Duke was able to just punch right back in overtime, score immediately. And then first play, they run a trick play. Thought it was going to work for a second, but then the Duke defender makes a great play. He had just come in for the injury and made a great play on the interception to end the game.
Yeah, and in this game, I want to shout out Darian Mensah. Like, dude, he looked incredible in this game. The plays he was making, especially late in games, like as a young quarterback, it was impressive. And that's why Duke gave him all that money. And Duke should be very proud of themselves that they are ACC champs. Like, that's incredible. You went 8-5 and you're ACC champs. And I just think that Duke played a better game than Virginia. Like, straight up. Like, they just straight up played better than Virginia did in this one. Virginia wasn't getting, like, competitive drives or good drives up until that last drive of the game, which was incredible. But, like, Virginia just didn't look like they looked outmatched, which is crazy to say because Duke is not that good of a team. Like, they have not looked good. They also gave me UConn a couple weeks back. Like, this Duke team has been so hot and cold. They played really good in this game. Shout out to them. And sad for Virginia, no playoff appearance. But there's been so many close games for Virginia this year. Eventually, something was going to break. Maybe it was going to be in the playoffs, but it was here in the ACC title game. Virginia just was. They were an okay team that beat some okay teams. They weren't really. They weren't on that high level. And the ACC just wasn't in general this year.
Yeah, definitely not playing their best football down the stretch. Like Virginia started the year off really strong, and I think it kind of tapered off a little bit, you could say.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, and that culminated here with that loss. A couple losses down the stretch they probably shouldn't have had, and then that loss in the ACC title game. Now this game I was really excited to watch. Indiana, Ohio State, 1-2 for the second time this year.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting to think about like how many years we've had 2 1-2 games in the regular season.
Yeah.
Or that's not the regular season, but outside of the playoff. I mean, because we had 2 of them this year, and Indiana able to come out on top, giving Ohio State their first loss. Not only their first loss, their first deficit in the second half of the game this year.
That's wild.
And Ohio State showed they weren't really able to handle it. Like, their offense kind of went dormant in this game against Indiana defense. That's really elite. And Ohio State not only playing against Indiana in these playoffs, what if you see Oklahoma? What if you see Texas Tech? Same kind of defenses, right? And so that's something to maybe think about. Can Ohio State step up when playing a defense that's elite?
Yeah, and it was really cool to watch how the Indiana DBs, like, no Ohio State receivers were getting much separation in this game. Like, they were not getting open. Julian Sayin didn't look incredible. Like, he made some decent plays, but, like, once again, he's a young quarterback. But I just think that Indiana played the game that they wanted to play. Like, a scrappy, like, we're going to play defense and, like, win this game, and that's what they did. And shout out to Kirk Cignetti. Like, we have to realize that we might have the best story in college football right in front of us. Like, Kirk Cignetti 2 years ago comes from James Madison and takes over the program with the most losses in FBS history. That's insane, and turns them into the number 1 team in the country and just beat Ohio State in a Big Ten title game. Like, there's so many things that we have to give Kurt Cignetti and Indiana so much credit for. I don't know how far they go in the playoffs. I've said I think they're a national title contender, and they are. I don't know how far they go, but, like, the story in front of us we have to look at and how incredible it is. And people didn't give Indiana the respect that they deserved last year and coming into this year. And they have earned that respect, and they will have that respect for a long time. So.
Yeah, absolutely a great game. Indiana, these are obviously 2 offenses that were, like, big play-oriented. And Ohio State just didn't get any big plays in this game. Julian Sayin did not look like himself, like you said. And Indiana was able to make the big plays in that third quarter to get that touchdown. And that was the difference in the game ultimately. So, I don't know. And then Ohio State missed a chip shot field goal.
Yes.
At the end of the game, under 2 minutes, that would have brought it to overtime, which was also crazy. Crazy way to end.
Yeah, it was a wild game. It was a great game, though. Like, truly, like, that was a fun defensive game to watch, which usually they're not, but, like, this one was. And Mendoza made some plays at the end of that game, dude. Like, in the last fourth quarter, mainly, like, Mendoza did not look great in the first 3 quarters. He went down with an injury, like, first play of the game, which was kind of scary. Looked like he hurt his shoulder or his head or something. But then in that fourth quarter, he was making plays. Mendoza looked like the best quarterback in the country in that game. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and those last 2 games, the ACC Championship and the Big Ten Championship, that's where I point to say, like, look, conference championship games still matter. There was no reason for Indiana or Ohio State to care about this game. They were both locked into a bye in the playoff, right? But they went out there and they played their hearts out, right? And made an amazing game for us, and now Indiana can say they're Big Ten champions. And Duke went out there and came out with fire. Like they were so motivated coming into this game. Like, early in the game, they were just playing like their heads were on fire. And I think it was really fun to watch, and Duke, no reason to care. They were out of the playoff anyway. They went out there, they upset Virginia, and were able to become ACC champions. And just the effort they showed all around was super surprising to me and pleasantly surprising.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out Virginia's receiver. I forget his name. Was it Wood? He was a senior who had like 12 career catches going into the game.
Oh, he got the last one?
Scored the touchdown,
Yeah, that was an incredible catch.
Incredible
throw, too.
Only in because of injuries, I think, and it was 3 catches, 30 yards, including that last touchdown. Yeah. So, Eli Wood, what an amazing game for him. What an amazing way to end his career, presumably. Unless he pulls a phantom year of eligibility. So, anyway, so the playoff got announced. Definitely some controversy here, but I think they got it right at the end of the day. So I already read it to you. I want to have a few smaller things to talk about first before we get into big things. A couple bones I had to pick with the committee here. Ohio State and Georgia, I think Georgia needs to be number 2. Ohio State needs to be number 3. Ohio State might even need to be number 4 because at the end of the day, when it was a 14 playoff, conference championship mattered, but now that your 12-team conference champion doesn't matter? No, it should still matter. Ohio State, not a conference champion. Georgia, 1 loss. Texas Tech, 1 loss. Ohio State, 1 loss. Have all looked dominant all season. Have all lost to good teams. And Ohio State, not a conference champion. Needs to be behind at least one, if not both of those teams. So that's one. And then number 2, the committee, I think kind of being a little hypocritical here, with keeping Ole Miss ahead of Texas A&M. 2 years ago, was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago? 2 years ago, they had Florida State out the playoff because of the person on their team, their quarterback, who was out. That's part of the formula. I thought it was the right decision at that point because it's part of the decision-making process. You laid it out beforehand. That's part of the process. Ole Miss doesn't have Lane Kiffin, and it's part of the process. It's written down in the book, so if it's going to be part of the process, make it part of the process. There's nothing separating Ole Miss and Texas A&M, really, when it comes to your resume. But
I would disagree.
Strength A&M has a much better strength of record, much better strength of schedule.
They don't have a better strength of schedule.
Oh, yes, they're not on the show.
A&M, there's no way A&M has better strength of schedule.
They did.
How?
I don't know how, but that was wait.
How? Ole Miss has
College
played
football,
Georgia and Bama.
Strength of schedule rankings. They said it like maybe I misheard something, but
I don't think A&M.
Strength of record.
Did A&M play a
A&M,
playoff team?
A&M had a better strength of record.
Did A&M play a playoff team?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, A&M had a better strength of record. A&M had, let's see, strength of schedule. A&M had a harder schedule as well.
Interesting.
A&M had a harder schedule, had
a
better strength of record. So if anything, A&M's got the better metrics.
And the Notre Dame game, I guess.
The Notre Dame game, but then Ole Miss, I don't know how, because Ole Miss played Oklahoma, but I don't know.
Ole Miss played Oklahoma and Georgia.
Yeah. But I mean,
that makes no sense.
A&M played Texas and
that's it.
Texas and Notre Dame, so those two match that. But
yes.
Anyway,
the other two teams are in the playoffs.
I'm not gonna argue with the metrics.
No, I
Texas
agree.
A&M.
I would disagree. I think Ole Miss should be
Texas A&M. I think I don't have a problem with it as it stands, but if you're gonna take the coaching change into account, if you're gonna say you're taking it into account, you gotta take it into account. That's part of the formula.
Is coaches technically?
Yes, it's coaches is like in the formula. It's like players or coaches is what it says.
Interesting.
So it's part of the formula. If you're gonna say it's part of the formula, follow it. If not, take it out. I have no problem with this if that's not part of it.
It shouldn't be in there, but
I think if you're gonna say what you're gonna do because this is hypocritical.
I'd agree. They do it every year.
And that's huge because now Ole Miss is against a group of 5 team. A&M has to go play Miami. So that's a big difference. That should have A&M in front. But that's all I have to say. That's a couple little bones I had to pick with the committee there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree with the Ole Miss one. I would agree with you on the other one, though, that Ohio State should have dropped a little farther. I don't think that Ohio State has looked more dominant than Texas Tech and Georgia have. Right? And those two teams are conference title winners. So
I think Ohio State...
I don't really...
Ohio State's been as dominant as they have throughout the season.
No, I'm saying I don't see them that they're that much different. I would say they're pretty Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech have all looked insanely dominant, pretty much on the same level. So I would agree that Ohio State should drop because the other two won their conference title game. So
that should matter.
I agree.
So now let's get into the more juicy stuff, you could say. So it was obviously between those final 3 spots. It was between Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame. And spoiler alert, it was Alabama and Miami that got the nod, and I'm extremely excited to see this result because it shows a lot of things for the committee. It sets a couple of huge precedents here. Number 1, they followed the head-to-head. Thank you, Jesus. They needed to do that. They were close enough together. The resumes were pretty much identical when it comes to metrics. They needed to be ahead of Notre Dame because of the head-to-head, but pretty much identical. And everyone says Miami's losses were bad. They really weren't.
Yeah, they weren't great.
SMU and Louisville are both very, very good teams. Not very, those are both very good teams.
Yeah. Notre Dame's losses are better is the point.
Notre Dame's losses are better, but how much of a difference does that make when Miami lost to 2 of probably the top 30 teams in the country as well and beat them on the field? Yeah. SMU and Louisville, SMU was an overtime game away from had a chance at the playoffs. There is a real world where SMU would be in this bracket right now.
I agree.
And there's a real world where Louisville could also, I guess, they kind of struggled near the end, but they were really good for a stretch there. Definitely not shabby losses at all. They're solid. And then keeping Alabama where they were, huge, I think, because that shows that you're not going to punish the conference championship losers. You
agree.
punish BYU a little bit, but that's a little different story, I think, because BYU never proved themselves throughout the season. Whereas Alabama did, and Alabama was able to stay where they were despite losing the conference championship. That's huge. And the second you mess that up is the second conference championships need to go away.
That's correct.
But as long as you're not going to punish them for losing, I love conference championships. And I think they should stay how they are.
Yeah, I totally agree. So that's the thing. Like I've advocated throughout this whole like college football playoff rankings this year. I've advocated the conference championships obviously don't matter, so let's get rid of them. But now their last ranking, they decide that we're gonna make conference title games matter a little bit more, and we're gonna put Alabama in, which I totally agree with. Like I think that because they lost, they got to the SEC title game. You can't penalize them for that. Because teams would opt out; they wouldn't want to play in them. So I would totally agree with that. I think that Alabama should be in. I do think that Alabama is a good team. Now I do think they're skidding, but I think that what's the other team? And then and the other fact that like the Miami Notre Dame thing, like we've been talking about it for so long. I wonder why are they arguing for so long who should get in Miami Notre Dame? They're arguing a bunch of different metrics. They're similar in almost every single metric you can think of. So guess what? Let's look at when they played on the field against each other.
And not
when
only
they played against each other, Miami beats them. Like straight up, Miami beat them.
Dominated them too. The score was close, but Miami dominated that game.
Like if you go back and watch that game, like Miami outplayed Notre Dame in every single facet of the game. So Miami was the better team on the field against Notre Dame. Now, I understand why Notre Dame why people are going to advocate for them to get in the playoffs, because they're a top 12 team in the country, by far, right? I think they have a good shot to win a national title game. But that's the thing. That's what the committee had to do this year. With the way it worked out, you're going to leave some teams out that can win national championships, that including Texas, you could say, could win a national title, right? And then, obviously, Notre Dame could definitely win a national title. So that's just the thing the committee had to do, and I totally agree with them. I do think it's crazy how late they did it, but, I'm glad they got it right, and I'm glad this is what the playoff looks like.
Yeah, just more reason to expand it, right?
Why not? 16,
and
man,
now,
let's go.
I think last year, I think you're going to see
8
more
home games in the first round.
I think you're going to see more years like this where you have 10-2 teams being left out. Whereas last year you had Miami, but last year I think was an anomaly where you had way less 2-loss teams.
Yeah.
Whereas this year you had more. I think this is what you're gonna. And if you go back in time, like there's been this many 2-loss teams most of the years. I looked at it before the first year of the playoff. I was like, no, 10-2 teams. You have to be 10-2 to make it at that point. It's basically what I said at the start of last season. That's going to be true, and that's might even be out if you're 10-2.
Yeah.
But they're gonna next year it's gonna be 16, and it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be awesome. 8 home games. I totally agree with that too. That's gonna be sick.
It sucks that I think the bye should be a thing, but also like you gotta have 16.
But it's
you
also
can't really go more than 16.
But like, do you want to buy? That's the thing.
I'd rather play a group of 5 team than have a bye. But if you're playing like a good team, I'd rather have the bye.
So a good example is like Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference title game, right? So they get a bye this week, while Indiana has to go play in their Big Ten game, right? So like Notre Dame in that situation would get a bye and then go play. So that's why Indiana likes the bye, because then they're, you know what I mean? In that situation, if you go to 16, there's a chance they get rid of conference title games and they go back to there's a chance. There's a very good chance that happens. I don't think it happens, but there is a chance.
There's some reworking.
That's the thing. If they go to 16, they're going to have to rework a lot of stuff. They maybe go back to divisions in conferences.
They're so big now.
But maybe they have to do it, though. You have to figure out who the best 2 teams are, not with a bunch of tie-break methods like we are now.
I think one of the solutions to this could be, looking at the American Conference tiebreakers. It's about college football playoff ranking. No, so if you
that's the thing.
If you want your best, if you want Miami to have a shot because you think they're one of the best ACC teams, how else are you going to do the tiebreaker to make sure your best teams get in? I think that's a good tiebreaker to say, look, where are you ranked in the polls? Because that's really how good you are, is kind of if you want the bbest team is going to be higher ranked in the polls. So I think that could be an option. Just make it constant. I think it could be like, if you're one of the first tiebreaker head-to-head, second tiebreaker, who's ranked higher in the poll.
But let's say Notre Dame's in the ACC, for an example, in this situation, and Miami and Notre Dame are fighting who goes to ACC title game.
Play head-to-head.
Okay, is that what happens first, though?
Yeah, one head-to-head, 2, yeah.
And then you go based off college football playoff rankings, and they have Notre Dame ahead of Miami.
Yes.
But, then why would that... it contradicts itself, though.
No, well, in that case, yes, but,
But it's possible that could happen. Because college football playoff rankings are stupid, and they do it in stupid ways throughout the season. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't base it off of a freaking committee. I'd base it off of what your conference wants to do. I wouldn't base it off of a random committee in Dallas, Texas.
Then you're going to end up with a team like Duke making it, because the metric-based
Okay.
Tiebreakers are always gonna favor the best team. That's just how it goes.
Okay.
Maybe you make like a BCS type formula. I don't know, but anyway, I think that would be a good option. Just make sure head to head is the top tiebreaker always.
There's so many dumb tiebreakers. Like ACC tiebreakers are stupid.
What was it? It was like
oh my gosh, what's the word? The Mountain West. Okay, so the Mountain West this year had a chance. San Diego State was really good in the Mountain West this year, and New Mexico was good in the Mountain West this year. And they played each other on the last night of the regular season. And San Diego State did not know what they needed to do to get into the title game. They didn't know. Like, if they won, they didn't know what was going to happen. If they lost, they didn't know what was going to happen. Like, that's insane. That, like, they have to go through metrics in the morning, and you don't, like, the teams that playing don't even understand if they're getting into it. Like, that is so stupid. If you look up Mountain West tiebreakers, go look at how bad it is. That, like, those things need to be changed. Now, I agree that some are better than others. Like, I think the SEC tiebreakers are really good. I think they do a good job at it. I think they get the best two teams in the SEC championship every single year. But like other things like that with group of 5 teams getting left out, like it sucks. And like the fact that you can play a game on a Saturday night and on Sunday you don't know if you're in the conference title game is crazy.
Yeah. The ACC tiebreakers are pretty standard. I feel like
they're head to head. Yeah.
It's head to head.
I'm saying like down below.
It's head to head and then common opponents. If you want to go, if you're not doing that, then it's got to be. If you're not doing that, then you got to do something like I said, or something like a formula to where you can pick the best team, because common opponent, that's just standard.
Yeah.
Below that, I don't know what it was, but I seemed kind of stupid.
Coin flip.
It was conference strength of schedule. It was conference strength of schedule, which I actually don't hate, because if you got the same record against common opponent, if you got the same record, whoever the better strength of schedule, technically, I mean.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to get scheduled in the ACC. Like, it's not like you decide like your schedule in the ACC.
No, you don't.
Schedule,
So
it's like,
so you can't control that, but you can win more games.
Well, yeah, but
that's always an option. So
that is very true. Just win your games.
Also,
Notre Dame, win your games.
Yeah, beat
Notre Dame, win your games.
Beat Texas A&M. Make an extra point.
Like, bro, like you lost on your home turf to Texas A&M. Like, you do not get to get in the playoff. I'm sorry. After losing to Miami, like you lost.
They deserved to make the playoff, but they weren't. Weren't one of the. They shouldn't have been in. Like,
that's fair. I agree that like if you're ranking the top 12 teams in college football, Notre Dame is 1,000%.
They should be. Notre Dame should be devastated. Notre Dame should be upset, but they shouldn't be mad at the committee.
Yeah, they should be upset that they don't get to play and they don't get to compete for a national title, but that's kind of on you.
If you want to complain about anything...
You can't get mad at the committee, I don't think.
If you want to complain about anything, complain about how it's only 12.
You can also do that.
Or the 5 thing.
That's also true.
Or the Group of 5 thing, which we're about to talk about.
Or get in a frickin' conference. Yeah, for the 1,000th time, get in a conference.
They're in the ACC in every other sport.
Yes, like join the ACC. Holy, it's horrible. Like, you don't get to whine about the fact that you're not in a conference. You don't get to whine about anything. Yeah.
All right, so big topic of conversation is also Tulane and James Madison both getting in as Group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
People are saying, they shouldn't be in. They shouldn't. They're not one of the best 12 teams. But also people are saying, like, hey, you got to include them because these Group of 5 teams are playing for nothing all season. Then what are we doing? So, I don't know how you fix this, but, I mean, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I've always been a fan on, for sure, you have to have a Group of 5 team in the playoff, for sure. Like, they deserve to have a shot. And I don't think we've seen enough of a sample size to see if these Group of 5 teams can compete, I think. Yeah. Like, I think we have to see a bigger sample size. We have to see more years with the playoffs.
Yeah, this year.
And that's the thing. Yeah, we're gonna see 2 this year.
They competed last. Boise competed last year.
They
lost.
They kind of got smoked.
But it was a close game for a second.
And Penn State dominated that game. That's like saying like that Notre Dame and Miami was close. Like Penn State dominated that game.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like on the ground, like in every single facet, Penn State dominated.
Boise State, it wasn't a terrible show.
I agree, and that's the thing, and that shows why like Group of 5 teams have to have a shot, right? Because they do have good players. Like, they do have good teams. Like, they can compete. I do think that Tulane can compete with Ole Miss on the field. I do think that James Madison can compete with Oregon. Like, I think it's possible. Now, do I think it's going to happen? No. But, like, it's possible, right? And possibility is what Group of 5 teams live on, and that's what they need. So, I would agree with definitely one getting in every single year. The thing is, but why people are mad is the ACC sucks. That's why people are mad, because they couldn't get the other bid. Because
people are mad because Notre Dame got out because of James Madison.
But that's what happens. Like that's the metric for the college football playoff. So if you're mad at the college football playoff rankings and how they do it, that's fair. I get it, and a lot of people are. Just be mad at the system, and also Notre Dame win your games.
Yeah. I think my best solution I've come up with so far is to make, without like total destruction of the whole thing and starting over, is make it 4 conference champions get in. Either make it 16 and make it 5. Or make it 16, make it 6. I don't care. But if you're going to keep it at 12, I think make it 4 conference champions, because each of the last 2 years you would have had a group of 5 team in. Obviously, the gap between the Power 4 group of 5 is shrinking. So there will be a lot of years where a group of 5 national champion or group of 5 conference champion is above one of the Power 4 champions. In that case, put them in because they deserve to be in. But if the committee doesn't think any of the group of 5 conference champions are worthy of it, then maybe leave them out. But I think that could be an option. So where you could have all the Power 4 teams in, and then Notre Dame would be in this year. But again, that's different every year. Like some years, the cutoff of deserving teams changes every year. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I would agree. I think that's a possibility for sure. But yeah, you just don't know like what group of 5 teams are going to be really good one year. Like you have 3 insane group of 5 teams. Like this year, we have 2 really good group of 5s. We have 3. Like North Texas is a really good group of 5 team. Like they could compete in a college football playoff game. Same thing with James Madison and Tulane. And then some years we might not have great group of 5 teams, right? Like that's very possible that we don't have very good ones. So yeah, it just depends on how you see it and if you want group of 5 teams in the playoff.
Yeah, you can't get them. You can't tell them to kick rocks because at that point they should make their own league.
That is true. Go to the FCS.
Maybe like FDS or
make a new league.
Make a new league. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about these games very in depth. In 2 weeks, right before the playoff starts, you will get in depth analysis of all these games, like we did last year. But for now, let's move on to the coaching carousel. We're gonna go down this list. It's a very extensive list. Obviously, I read it already, and just talk about these hires. See what we think about them. So, LSU stealing Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss is where we're gonna start. There's been a lot of drama here, and about people blaming Lane Kiffin, people blaming Keith Carter, people blaming the system. What do you think about this? I'll let you start.
So, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's a specific person in the wrong in this situation. It was just a lot of really weird stuff that happened, and a lot of just like it's just a bad situation.
It's a bad system,
right? It's like the way it's set up that like you have to leave if you want to jump on recruiting or if you want to jump on looking at transfers and like stuff like that. Like with the system, it's worked out. Lane Kiffin, if he wants to take the LSU job, has to leave now. But he wants to coach his team in the playoffs. Like I get that, and that's what Summerall is doing, and that's what Eric Morris did. And I totally understand why Ole Miss did not let them do it, right? Or not let him do it. I totally understand that. So I do think that this whole situation has now resolved itself, and it'll be crazy. Now it'll be a crazy rivalry with Ole Miss and LSU for the next couple of years.
But just the next couple of years.
But I think, well, it depends on how long we have Lane Kiffin. We'll have to see how it works. But I think for LSU specifically, it's like, this is your guy, right? Like, this is exactly who you wanted. You went out and got him. He's one of the best offensive minds in football right now, and he's your guy. And you got to ride him, and you got to, like, understand that you got to ride with him through every single thing that he chooses. Like, if he wants a starting quarterback, you go get that starting quarterback.
That Chandler, please.
If he believes that Michael Van Buren is his guy, you're going to have to ride with that, right? Like, that's what you
He's
trust.
Never failed.
What?
He's never failed with that. Like, why? Yeah, there's
that's
no
what
reason
I'm saying.
not to.
Like, you trust Lane Kiffin in every single thing he's going to do. And I think that's what LSU is going to do, and they're going to give him a lot of money to do that in the transfer portal this year and recruiting in the next couple of years. Lane Kiffin's going to have a shot to build a dynasty with LSU. Now, I don't know if it happens, but he's going to have his best shot right here in Baton Rouge, and we'll see what happens.
There is absolutely no reason to have the system the way. Like, there's no reason you can't push the transfer portal to February, signing in January, playoff, signing at the end of January, playoff before that, let the playoff finish, then you leave. Like, no reason for that, people. Like, you're putting this... Like, what monkey brain made this system? Like, to where, what could go wrong here? Maybe all the coaches leave before the playoff. Like, you can't blame Lane Kiffin for this. He made the decision for his future. He knew he wasn't winning the championship this year. He knew that he had... he knew he had a huge opportunity at LSU. And... you can't blame Ole Miss for not letting him coach. It would basically be a 1-month LSU recruiting trail. It would be all their games would be LSU advertisements. And so I understand, but also it's the system. And that's I don't think you kind of hit on the head with the rest of it. LSU has a bright future ahead of them.
They got the best coach on the market, right? Yeah. So like it's a big get.
They took him on the market too. Like he wouldn't like.
Same thing happened with Brian Kelly too.
Yeah, same thing happened with Brian Kelly. Interesting. Anyway, Ole Miss promotes now Pete Golding, which, man, I don't know. They're in shambles now, man.
I don't know. So it's interesting. So Pete Golding is not a guy that I was like expected for them. But that's the thing. They didn't really have anyone they could go get at this point. Like the coaching carousel had stopped moving. Like it wasn't. And Pete Golding was kind of your best option at that point. And a lot of kids love Pete Golding. Like he is loved by a lot of kids. In the state of Mississippi, he's a very good recruiter. So I think they'll be okay. Now they'll never. I don't know if they'll ever be able to get back to where they are right now. But Pete Golding, I don't think it's a horrible hire. I think it's kind of the best they had. And they promoted one of their guys. And I think for the playoffs, it's really good to have that like stability. Like this is our guy. He's going to be our guy next year. Like we're riding with him, and we're going to go try to win a national title. Yeah. So I like it.
Ole Miss is doing a few things with this hire. Number one, they're trying to keep their staff and their players around.
That's true.
Staff for the playoffs, players for next year. Number two, they're trying to show the committee, hey, look, we have a coach. Like, you don't need to bump us down. We have a coach. And so, I mean, for the time being, for the present, it was the right move. But for the future, man, I don't know. He's not an experienced head coach. We'll see what ends up happening. I guess the guys like him. But I think there's got people available. Like Matt Campbell didn't have a job yet. A few guys available that you could have gone to get instead, and they didn't. I don't know. I think Ole Miss should have let him go earlier. Should have let Lane go on their off week before the Egg Bowl if they were going to let him go.
I agree.
Because then they would have had time to ride the coaching carousel and find somebody. But now they're left with Pete Golding. All right. Oklahoma State hires Eric Morris. What do you have to say about that?
Hell of a hire. I love it. I'm a big Eric Morris guy. I do think that he will succeed at Oklahoma State, and they need a boost, and this guy's going to give them a boost. He is similar in the way where he is fiery, and he will bring a really good offense to Oklahoma State. And I think Oklahoma State is going to be a very good football team in the next couple of years. Now, I don't know if they're competing for Big 12 title games, but I do think that Eric Morris was the best hire they could make. He's close to home. It's a good spot. I like it.
Yeah, look at what other Group of 5 coaches, or especially in the American, have gone. Or not in the American, but top Group of 5 coaches, look at where they went.
Yeah.
Florida, UCLA. Oklahoma State, definitely a step up home run hire for them because definitely not... Eric Morris probably had options other places. But they scooped him up before he could even get offered, I guess. I don't know, but... It was interesting to see that he went to Oklahoma State, but
I like that was that was their guy too. Like they didn't really look at anyone else. I like that.
So, but yeah, Eric Morris definitely could bring a lot of good things to Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State was good before they kind of got lost in the last couple of years. So, I don't know. Arkansas hiring Ryan Silverfield. I personally think this is not a great hire for Arkansas because Ryan Silverfield hasn't even been that good at Memphis. Like, and he inherited a great situation from Mike Norvell, and then he gets there, he kind of just doesn't get any better. He's kind of worse. They lost 4 games this year, including a few they should not have lost. Ryan Silverfield, he's a solid coach, but I don't think he's what Arkansas needs. I don't think he's an SEC caliber coach. Arkansas could have gotten other guys, I think, but Ryan Silverfield, not a great hire.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really understand it, and that's the thing. And maybe he is going to be one of the guys to turn around the Arkansas program. I don't think he is, but maybe it's possible. Like obviously, Arkansas saw something that we don't, or they believe in something that we don't really see. Obviously, I think they missed on Golish, which was big. They missed on Golish. Golish didn't want to go to Arkansas, so then they had to go with their backup option, and their backup option was obviously Silverfield. But yeah, I agree. I think there were just better options on the table, right? Or like to look for better options, at least. And maybe that was their guy, and maybe they believe in what he's doing. And I hope he proves me wrong, because like he's getting way too much hate right now. It sucks for him, but I hope he does turn Arkansas around.
Yeah, kind of what I'm trying to figure out is like, what are Arkansas and Ole Miss like? I don't think they're settling because no other current head coaches are on the market. You know how many current head coaches in the SEC have come from coordinator positions at high achieving schools and been amazing? So both Oregon's coordinators are gone.
Yeah.
You have Kentucky job, like both of them hired before Kentucky. Both of them hired before Heartline got hired.
Yeah. Like
there's guys around the country that are very capable of being SEC head coaches, like especially Arkansas.
Glenn Schumann at Georgia.
Yeah, like there's coordinators that you can hire they'll absolutely take an SEC job, and you're kind of like forced. You don't have to hire a current head coach. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the Pete Golding want to get a little bit more than the Silverfield.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah. Maybe they see something though. I don't know.
Pete Golding is an SEC coordinator.
So, that is true. This is true. He's a good defensive coordinator too. Like Pete Golding is a good defensive coordinator.
Lane Kiffin wasn't doing the heavy lifting over there. I'll tell you that.
This is true.
Penn State hires Iowa State's Matt Campbell.
It's an 8-year deal, by the way.
Interesting hire.
Like
Penn State kept striking out. They kept striking out. But bottom of the ninth, they pick up Matt Campbell. I mean,
yeah, facts.
Iowa State.
Kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of out of nowhere. Iowa State has been really good under Matt Campbell. Haven't made that huge leap, but that's something with you can see hopefully with more resources. That's what LSU's making on, right? And so I think this is a good place for Matt Campbell to be. I think this hire is gonna go well. And the word that I think of when I'm thinking about these coaching searches, I think even recently it's been more important. The culture in college football. Your coach has to bring culture if you want to win on the big stage. Look at Brian Kelly, no culture. You look at someone like Lane Kiffin, who's going to bring a great culture to LSU that fits LSU really well.
Yeah, he does.
There's a good reason for that. Eric Morris going to bring great culture. Yeah. Pete Golding, I don't know anything about him yet. Silverfield, I don't know. But like Matt Campbell's going to bring culture to Penn State, which they were kind of missing under James Franklin, where they were just kind of in a culture of mediocrity, can't win big games. Whereas now they're going to have more of grit in them with Matt Campbell.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think that we have to look back at the Penn State firing and do ask, like, was that the right way to go? Like, was firing James Franklin the right thing to do? Because, like, obviously players like James Franklin. They had all their recruits follow him to Virginia Tech. So, obviously he's a great recruiter. He might not be able to win big games, but he's been close. He's tried. He's right there.
He's trying.
So, like, I do think that I think he's one of the best head coaches in football. Like, I truly do. And I do think that he will win big games at Virginia Tech. I do think he will do really well there. But
why isn't he coaching for Arkansas? That's my question. Also.
I think of Virginia, I don't know if he'd go to Arkansas.
Why? They're SEC. It's an SEC.
Also, Arkansas hadn't even fired their guy by the time Franklin was fired. Like they still had Pittman at that point, so that wouldn't have been a conversation.
Virginia Tech did a good job getting him early.
Virginia Tech jumped on him quick, and that's where he wanted to go too. He was big on Virginia Tech. Yeah. So, but not talking about that. Matt Campbell is a great hire for Penn State. I do think that it will work well. I think they jumped on it late, which is good. The 8-year deal is what worries me though. I don't know if 8 years is like that's pretty long. Like that's a while. But maybe Matt Campbell's their guy. We'll see what happens.
What's the value on that then? Like,
what's the money?
That's the money, yeah.
I'm just saying 8 years feels like a long time.
Yeah, because if it's not a bad contract, then.
But like 6 years, like why did it have to be 8?
I don't know, but
it just feels like bigger than all the rest of the contracts.
$10 million a season, so but they can handle a buyout of that size.
Yeah, if you're paying it in installments right now, though.
Paying it in installments, I think it should be fine. Anyway, they settled with James Franklin already. I think. Because James Franklin wanted to take a job.
Maybe.
So I might be wrong. But anyway, I'll look that up in a second. Talk about culture. Talk about John Summerall going to Florida. Everyone's saying, look, he's the next Billy Napier. But guys coming from Group of 5 schools all the time are successful. Just because one of them didn't work does not mean the majority of them are successful. Just I don't understand that at all. But John Summerall brings a culture that Billy Napier never did. And he is amazing. He's like a kid on Christmas in that press conference. It's going to be amazing to see him there. I love John Summerall. It's a shame that he is going to be at Florida, but great hire for Florida for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is one of the best hires by far. It might be the best. It's up there.
As far as money goes, only $7.5 million for him. Yeah,
and the thing for John Summerall that, like you said, is the culture. But I think you want it, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago for Florida's head coaching search. Like you want to find someone who wants to coach Florida Gator football. Like, I want to be Florida's next head coach. John Summerall said that. He wanted to be Florida's next head coach, and he did it. And he's going to be very successful, I think. I think he's going to get these boys to play. I think he's going to recruit the state of Florida very well. And I do think that he could be like a Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. It's very possible that he turns into that next Group of 5 guy to come in and immediately change with that impact and with that culture. I do think that John Summerall is a great hire, and I think that Florida will be back.
John Summerall is definitely going to be able to go into Georgia and recruit in Georgia. Yeah. Like, he's going to be able to steal guys. And yeah, Franklin and Penn State settled for $9 million because of his taking the job at Virginia Tech. I guess he had a mitigation clause in there.
Wow, that's wild.
So he had to settle for $9 million. So that's really out of the question at this point. Auburn getting Alex Golesh. Everyone expected DJ Durkin to be the hire, coming off a solid performance against Alabama, and as his interim time came to a close, everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to hire DJ Durkin." And people were not happy about it because Auburn had a losing culture. They were losers. Like under Hugh Freeze, and keeping that same staff basically coming in would be a really poor decision for Auburn. But instead, they go out and get a guy who's a winner, and that's Alex Golesh at South Florida. And I watched his press conference a little bit too. This guy is going to bring up, they're going to be hard nosed. They're going to run the football. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think under Alex Golesh, what a great hire.
Yeah, if Summerall's not the best hire, this is the best hire. Alex Golesh to Auburn is going to work. I think Auburn's going to be back quick. And I think that Alex Golesh has one of the best offensive minds in the country. And the one thing he preached about in his press conference is accountability. And that's one thing I appreciate in a coach is like he is going to hold every single person accountable. And that's something that Hugh Freeze never did. That's not what Auburn was doing. Like he made multiple jokes like, I'm not going to be playing golf on game day. Or like stuff like that, like Hugh Freeze was doing. And I know that's like a petty little joke, but like that moves mountains. Like that's a big deal. Like taking that next step. Like this guy wants to be Auburn's football coach and wants to turn it around, and I think he will. Very good hire for Auburn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Auburn should be very happy with this, getting the winning culture in there. North Texas hiring Texas assistant Noah Brown. I don't know really anything about him. Where did he coach before this? I think he coached at like West Virginia. He coached at Troy, I think.
He coached at West Virginia and then Detroit, West Virginia,
and
Texas.
Then Texas assistant for 1 year.
Yeah.
Seems like a solid hire for North Texas. This guy's been successful. Places he's been. He beat LSU and Troy, whatever. And he had some solid years with West Virginia as well. So it seems like a solid hire for North Texas to try to get themselves at the top of the ladder in the American.
Yeah, I think it's good. I would agree. I don't really see like what another option would have been. So I think it's good taking a shot on a guy who has coached places before. So.
It is interesting they didn't go after a coordinator. Like again, a group of 5 teams can go after those coordinators and try to get some pull there. Anyway, Michigan State hiring Pat Fitzgerald. Interesting because Pat Fitzgerald has not won in this era. Mm-hmm. At Northwestern, did really well, but then had to kind of step away because of the new era. He couldn't really win. Now he's back for Michigan State. I don't really like this because Michigan State's trying to kind of get back into relevance in this college football era, and I don't think this is the guy to do it. I think he's going to kind of be what he was at the end of his tenure in Northwestern. I think they're going to stay in mediocrity at this point because I think they needed a young guy to come in and change the culture, and I don't think Pat Fitzgerald's going to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's like a horrible hire. I do think that there's a chance it could work out with a bigger market and more money. I do think that he could be better because he's a really good football coach. But, we'll see what happens. I don't really have an opinion on it right now, being honest.
All right, well, Kentucky hits a home run.
Oh, yeah.
With Oregon offensive coordinator Will Stein. Kentucky alum, the only reason they got him, to be honest. This guy, great offensive mind, I'm assuming.
Incredible offensive
because
mind.
Dan Laney's a defensive guy,
yes.
So he's going to be, he was running the offense. Did a really good job. Definitely a guy that can come in and really change Kentucky for the better.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is another guy who wants to be Kentucky's coach, and I think that's a big deal with going and getting a coach. I wanted to coach Kentucky. He's also really young. Will Stein is mid-30s, so it's going to be a shot. It's a shot in the dark that I do think can work out for Kentucky. And if they surround him with some good coordinators with him and some good analysts, I do think that Will Stein will be successful. And I think it'll be fun to see. Kentucky's got a young coach. It's not like Mark Stoops. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I like it.
Kentucky definitely making a big hire here. Something that, again, this is the route that I think they should have gone as a lower SEC school rather than going the route of Arkansas or maybe even Ole Miss. But Ole Miss, not as much. Definitely just Arkansas. South Florida goes out and hires Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. Another home run hire because I don't know how you get this pull. Ohio State offensive coordinator should be on the chopping block to get a bit Power 4 job. And instead goes to South Florida where he's going to take over there. And I think sets him up well to continue their success.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that Brian Hartline recruits those Ohio State receivers, and he has. He is really, really good at his job, and I think he will recruit the state of Florida very well. I think he'll compete with Summerall and Cristobal at Miami for a pretty long time. I think all the 3 of those guys will be there for a while.
I don't know about Hartline.
I think Hartline can make USF into a group of 5 team every year.
But at what point does he leave? For an SEC job?
It depends. Can USF turn into the best team in Florida?
No.
Can they recruit the best in Florida?
No.
Because they had the second best recruiting this year. So, you bring in a guy who's a better recruiter. I don't know. It's possible. USF's got a ton of money in Tampa. It's definitely possible. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think it's a great hire for USF. And for the next 3 years, I think Brian Hartline will be there. And I think they'll get into a college football playoff in one of those years. Because they're a good enough team to do it and they have enough money to do it.
I don't know how they got him from Ohio State.
Great.
I thought his next stop would surely be in the Power 4. But
yeah.
Really great home run hire for South Florida. Talk about a home run hire for UCLA getting Bob Chesney. Another one. He probably should be getting a better job than that. But he's going to UCLA, has a really good chance to turn them around. Lots of resources. A team that's been kind of in mediocrity. We forget that this is UCLA can be a big program with their resources. And the pull out into LA, and Bob Chesney is going to bring good culture. He's a winner. and that's going to be good for UCLA and turning themselves around.
Yeah, Bob Chesney's one of the guys who I'm a little lower on than I think the census. I just don't know how it's going to work because I think he inherited a really good team at JMU. I think it's similar to what you could argue with other things like Ryan Silverfield at Memphis. He inherited a really good team. Now he kept them as good, right? He didn't slip like Silverfield did. But I do think he's a good coach. I worry about the recruiting side. I worry about a couple things. I do think he'll be okay. But I don't know if this was the home run hire for UCLA. But it worked out. I think Jerry Neuheisel should have been an option, but
sure it was. Yeah. One I wanted to put on here, Colorado State hiring Jim Mora. I think it's really interesting because Colorado State doesn't seem like a huge step up from UConn, and Jim Mora's done a really good job. Jim Mora's done a really good job at UConn. They were a solid team this year, able to beat Duke. But man, this kind of confuses me. Is this new Pac-12 gonna get some pull? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why he left. It's I can compete in the Pac-12. I can compete to if I win a Pac-12 championship, I have a chance in the college football playoff. Yeah. Those kind of things.
The Pac-12 isn't a big deal. People are seeing the Pac-12 as such a bad conference. Maybe they won't be.
No, I don't think the Pac-12 is going to be horrible. I think there's random teams in this conference. Once again, Boise has been really good the past couple of years. They have a really good program. Texas State coming in with a ton of money in San Marcos. They have a lot of NIL money, and they are starting to get better and better. Them joining the Pac-12. Colorado State has been good the past couple of years. Now, they haven't made that jump in the Mountain West, but they've been pretty good. And I do think that Jim Mora will come in, and I think he can compete in that Pac-12 immediately with that Colorado State job, and I think it's a good hire for Colorado State.
Yeah, definitely a great hire for Colorado State. Yeah. UConn get in the conference. Okay.
Facts, bro. Why are you not?
Yeah, there's no tradition there. You're not Notre Dame. Get the conference. Oregon State, they hired Bama co-offensive coordinator Jamarcus Shepard. Interesting hire here, coming from Alabama, a coordinator, but not really a coordinator, kind of the assistant offensive coordinator, you could say. Yeah. But Oregon State going to be one of those members of the Pac-12. I feel like they could have gotten someone a little bit better, but I have no idea. I don't know anything about Jamarcus Shepard, so we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure he's a good offensive mind. It could absolutely flip the culture in there.
Yeah, I think you just bring a cool face into Oregon State. You finally get a cool guy that I think will recruit well up there. So I think it's a good hire.
Good change of pace.
I don't really see a problem with it.
Kansas State hiring Colin Klein, very interesting. Former quarterback. I don't really know how it's going to play out. Has he even been head coach before?
I don't think so.
So you start talking.
I don't really think. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on Colin Klein. I think that it's good that you hire a guy in your program, right? I think that's okay. I think you did it pretty quick. I would have maybe looked into more options, but
he was Texas A&M's offensive coordinator.
Okay,
I did not know that. But yeah, solid hire.
This year?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought he was at Kansas State. Maybe not.
Maybe he was at Kansas. Prior to serving as Kansas State's offensive coordinator, Wildcats quarterbacks coach, I don't even know, bro.
I thought he was offensive coordinator this year. I thought they hired him from. I thought they just upgraded his interim tag. Maybe not, but
I'm not sure. Their coach, it wasn't.
Well, once again,
it wasn't interim. Their coach.
Didn't he go to Kansas State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another guy that it's his alma mater. He is going a Brent Key or a Jeff Brom or going to coach those teams really well because it's their alma mater. And that's why you saw Blake Baker this week, looking into that Tulane job a lot, even though they were offering the same amount of money. I'm not surprised when they matched the money. I wasn't surprised, but if they're offering the same amount of money, he was really thinking about going to Tulane.
He's an alum of Tulane.
Again, it's his alum. That's his thing. That's where he's from, and that's a big deal to a bunch of coaches. And they play better, and they get their guys to play better because they're an alum, and they show a lot of love for their school. And that's why guys like Brent Key and Jeff Brom and Kenny Dillingham did not leave their teams this year for a bigger job.
Yeah, so he was Mike Elko's offensive coordinator for the last 2 years.
Interesting. Okay.
But was part of Kansas State staff before that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, solid hire for
I like that hire.
Kansas State. You're getting the SEC coordinator in there. Good offensive mind, so that's good. So Cal hiring Tosh LaPoy, I think a great hire for them.
Yep.
Going to be a hard-nosed culture guy. Going to be able to recruit well. Going to bring some nice, just nice culture to Cal that they don't have as of right now. Just a nice wake-up call, a nice change of pace. That I think they could see an elite coordinator from one of the top programs in the country. Can't really go wrong.
Yeah, I agree with literally everything you just said. So I totally agree. I think it's a pretty good hire for Cal.
Just one more till we get to the fun stuff. Memphis hiring Southern Miss's Charles Huff. Another solid hire. Charles Huff has been really successful at Southern Miss, and I think he can make some impact at Memphis. I think that was a solid hire off of the loss of Silverfield.
Yeah, and he was at Marshall before, right?
I think so.
2 years ago? Yeah.
I think so.
And that was the whole thing with, like, Marshall couldn't play in their bowl game because they had 70 guys enter the transfer portal to follow their coach. So, yeah, no, he's a culture builder for sure. So I think he'll continue to build a culture up in Memphis, and they'll keep competing.
Interesting steal,
in
too.
American.
Interesting steal. I don't see that much of a difference there. So, interesting guy steal. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So, summed up Billy, you can't take the conference out the man. I said it earlier. He's back in the Sun Belt at James Madison. Billy Napier. We had offered him. We were in talks about the internship, but decided to take this James Madison job. We just couldn't match the money. So Billy Napier should be pretty successful in the Group 5, where he's been successful in the past. I see it as a good hire for James Madison.
Yeah, I see it as a great hire for James Madison. I think it's like the perfect guy. You bring a guy back who has been really successful in the Group of 5, and I think we'll continue to do that. I think he'll recruit JMU very well, and I think he'll hold the line like the past two guys have done, and they'll still compete for college football playoffs in the next couple of years.
Be interesting where Billy goes after this if he gets another job in the Power 4.
I do think it's possible.
I don't think he's a Power 4 coach.
Really. I think it just depends on. I think it depends on what they need, and that's the thing. Like, Napier does not establish a crazy culture, but he's a really good recruiter. Like, kids love him. Like, he is a really lovable guy. He's a nice guy, and a lot of kids love him and want to play for him. But that's the thing. He doesn't bring like a crazy culture, and it's hard to mesh some of his teams together, and that's what he had trouble with at Florida. But I think at JMU he'll be fine. I think going back that smaller size, I think will be good for him. But we'll see what happens. I think it's very possible he can get like a Big 12 job in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Stanford hiring Tavita Pritchard. Interesting story. Andrew Luck was teammates with Tavita Pritchard. I think he took his job or something, and then now gets to hire him as the GM, as the coach. Coming from the NFL. Be interesting to see how Pritchard does at Stanford. I think it's a solid hire that could work out for a Stanford team that's just trying to see if they can get back in it.
Yeah. Stanford's not really a good program right now. They're trying to build it up, and I do think this is helpful, and I think Andrew Luck is trying to make the right moves. But I'll agree, it's a pretty good hire. I don't really see that they could have made a better one. So it's kind of cool to take a shot in the dark. They don't really go after a big-name guy.
So now, someone losing in the Pac-12. Jimmy Rogers is out at Washington State. He's going to be at Iowa State's next coach.
Really? I didn't even see this one.
Jimmy Rogers, the Iowa State coach now. Iowa State's been really successful. I think this is a good hire for them. Washington State's also been really successful the past few years. So I think it could be pretty successful. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just kind of losing myself.
So yeah, no, I agree. I don't really have an opinion on it. I think it's a fine hire. I just think Iowa State got killed that they lost their guy and then they hired they get so late in the process. And now they got to hire this guy. So maybe, you never know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him, but he's built some solid teams there at Washington State. So
they've been pretty good.
We'll see what happens. So that's all we got for y'all today. Good episode.
Let us know what you think of the rankings. Like, if you have any opinions on them.
Comment down below all your
coaching
opinions.
Carousel, anything like that.
For sure. So, other than that, next week, probably looking at NFL episode of some sorts, and then we'll get into college football. Throughout the whole college football playoff, it'll be pretty much all we talk about. And then we'll start getting into NFL once their playoffs start as well. So, I was thinking power rankings next week. I don't know what you think about that, but something with NFL. Yeah, something for NFL next week. If we can come up with something better, and then college football, we're gonna get locked in later for the postseason.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
Oh, well, we forgot to do features draft updates, so we're gonna do that right now.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna cut that in. Okay. Yeah, James. Okay, stop playing. James was didn't remind me because he is losing pretty horribly right now. Anyway,
That's not why I did
I
did remind him.
Yeah, you did.
It's the only reason we're doing it.
I got 3 of the 4 buys in Indiana, Georgia, and Texas Tech, and then Tulane in the playoffs as well. The Virginia losing yesterday really hurt me. And then James has 4 teams in the playoffs as well, with Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. The Oklahoma pick seemed to be the best one of the draft, whereas I thought it may be the Tulane pick at the end, but me passing on them for Cincinnati was a rough one. Just didn't have them on my board. And then Landry picks up 3 playoff teams: Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Oregon. BYU losing this hurt him a lot, and he has 1 point outside of those 4. So rough go for Landry. He's definitely going to finish in last. But as of right now, where it stands, we have given points for being ranked, having the conference championship appearance, and winning it, for making the playoff and getting a bye. We have all those. And I'm at 29. James and Landry each tied at 15. We expect James to pull away there. as the playoff goes along. And it's far from over because
So what happens? We got awards. We got and what happens in the playoff? We
and
both got a
Heisman
bunch of
stuff.
teams,
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
That's interesting. So what's the Heisman looking like right now? It's like
it could
Mendoza,
be Mendoza.
Pavia.
I have Mendoza. You have Pavia.
Probably maybe Love and Rodriguez.
Love. You have.
Maybe.
I have Rodriguez. You have Love. You can see Saint in there. Who has? Who Landry has? You can see Simpson in there. Who you have?
Yeah, Simpson again.
Probably not. So anyway, Jeremiah Smith maybe.
Also
probably
possible. Technically.
It'll be interesting to see the finals.
I think it's gonna be Mendoza. My prediction would be like Mendoza, Pavia, Rodriguez, and Love.
I would say that. I would maybe take out Love. I would say it's gonna be Sayin, Mendoza, Pavia, and Rodriguez. That's my prediction. So, lots just still to happen. The college football playoff is where these things start to separate. But currently, college football futures draft is I'm in the lead as the futures draft just master. So
yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll really see y'all next one this time.
Peace.